The first item is roll call. Mr. Nadeau, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now it's roll call. Mr. Moran is here. Mr. Rathel. Here. Mr. Bands is excused. Mr. Filarski is excused. Mr. Hornby.
Here.
Mr. Loftus.
Here.
Mr. Nadeau.
Here.
Next item is the approval of the agenda, and we are tonight going to delete our presentation because MDOT Representative is not going to be here tonight.
Move approval with that change.
Motion by Mr. Rathel, support by Mr. Nadeau to approve the agenda as amended, removing the presentation by MDOT representatives. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the minutes of the August 19th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Nadeau, supported by Mr. Loftus to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2024 meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is our financial report. First item is the approval of the August 2024 financials. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look through those. I won't read what our budgeted and our expenditures are for August. I'll wait until we get to the September financials because that will incorporate both months. Anyone have any questions on the August financials?
I don't want to have a question or discussion, but I just want to point everybody's attention to, even at the end of August 31st, our retained earnings are almost $1 million, $952,000. Great job, guys.
Heading in the right direction. Any other comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rathel. Support by Mr. Hornby to approve the August 2024 financial report. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is the approval of the September 2024 financials.
Move approval.
Motion by Mr. Rathel. Support by Mr. Nadeau. Under discussion, we have, for our September 2024 financials, we have our amount budgeted at $1,656,967. Our revenue to date is $687,983, and that equals 41% of our budget. Our expenditures for the year are budgeted at the same $1,656,967. In our year-to-date expenditures and encumbrances are $537,797, and that equals 32% of our budget. Our capital reserves as of September 30th, 2024 was $924,550. In our past due rent as of October 1st is $23,842, of which $17,616 is made up by Lattice, who we are pursuing through the courts. With that, is there any discussion? Any discussion, any comments?
Is there any development in that?
No development in that at all, but I can add a little discussion on the aged accounts receivable,
Sure.
if I could, please.
Yep.
So on the August, you'll see that there was a couple of tenants, one being Papke, one being the lawn care, and Whiteley. Those have all been resolved. And if you are looking at Building 75, there was a $4,000 payment made today, bringing him to $4,136. The Hangar number 2, if you're looking at the September financials, we believe that's a clerical error. It's been kind of hanging out there, and I'll be meeting with the financial department tomorrow with discussion for that. As far as Elko Blanco, he has been a little bit difficult to collect payment with. We have a appointment scheduled for supposedly to make payment tomorrow. We did start eviction process with him, and that's all I have to add.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Rathel.
do we know if there's a plane still in the hangar?
Yes. Can we boot it?
What'd you say?
Can we boot it? Yeah, there is a
Oh.
plane.
Yeah.
After 30 days of the notice that I sent to quit, then we will boot the plane. And then he will not be able to retrieve it out of the hangar at that point as collateral.
Okay. Mr. Nadeau.
Do you know, what's with Building 75?
I believe that he has a lot of outstanding payments that are owed to him, and therefore he is unable to pay us, is how that has been working out.
One of us can make money off of receivables.
That's correct.
Is it just going to be an ongoing issue, you think, Janelle?
No, I think that after this is all set, then I think we should be good. That's what I believe. I mean, look, the guy, every time he says he makes a payment, he makes a payment. He's not, he doesn't, I don't have to chase him down for that payment. He makes a payment when he says he's going to make it. Unlike other tenants, like this other gentleman, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it, and then he never makes a payment. He won't answer his phone. This other gentleman comes in my office and talks to me quite regularly about his payments schedule, so.
Anything else? Hearing none, we have a motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Nadeau to approve the September 2024 financials. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. We'll move on to our action items. Our first action item is the approval of the lease for Allied Engineering Solutions. And we have a resolution before us that reads, based upon the recommendation from the Grosse Airport Manager, the Grosse Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a lease agreement for Allied Engineering Solutions at 9505 Groh Road, Grosse, Michigan. The lease shall be for $396 a month and $4,752 annually. A $4,000 rent credit will be applied for the renovation costs. These renovation costs must be validated by sales receipts and will be provided to the airport manager in a timely manner. And
So moved.
And
sorry.
the lease is for 24 months. Got a motion by Mr. Rathel,
Second.
or by Mr. Loftus. Is there any discussion? Janelle, anything to add?
I would just like to add that with this renovation, there will be a second office that will be available for rent. And that's all I have to add.
Mr. Hornby?
What does Allied Engineering do?
Do for a living,
What's the business? Yeah. what's-
construction.
This has been going on for a long time, right? I mean,
It's a
been
current tenant,
Right, right.
Yes.
But this has taken a long, long time to.
several months to come to terms.
Career deal. Other than validation of sales receipts, I would hope that, is this a do-it-yourself job, or if there's contractors, we're gonna get licenses and insurances?
I can make sure that I
Their building?
I can verify that, yes.
Oh, the tenant's going to do the work himself, though.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah,
wonder
but
if there are any
he's gonna,
contractors.
he's
or
gonna
just-
hire contractors to do the work.
Right, right. Yeah, we should definitely always ask for license and insurance. Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we have a motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Loftus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Action item number 2 is the approval of Phase 1 of the history/architectural survey for the Grosse Airport Hangar Number 1 renovation project CNS Company's CATEX contract addendum. And we have a recommendation before us that reads, based upon the recommendation of the Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves the addendum to the existing CNS Company's contract dated June 25th, 2024. This amendment is to the contract will be for the Phase 1 of the History/Architecture Survey for Hangar Number 1. This study will be performed by Lawhon and Associates. The cost of the additional services are estimated to be in the amount of $8,895.
So
And
moved.
motion by Mr. Rathel,
Or,
supported by Mr. Nadeau. Just a little bit of history. This is, as it relates to the renovation of Hangar 1, that will include office conference space, temporary lodging, and a restaurant/banquet space in approximately 10,000 square feet.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Rathel.
the only question I have, Janelle, is, unless I missed this, this is saying that it's just for Phase 1.
That's the way it was labeled on the contract because it's an addendum.
Okay, is there a Phase 2?
Not that I'm aware of. I can give an update on that during my manager report, but here, I'll tell you what the timeline looks like that for John. So according to CNS, because this is a contract with CNS that they subcontracted out to the Lawhon Company
Right.
to do the SHPO. And it's the way it stands right now that Lawhon should complete the study by the end of this week, actually 10/25. And from there, CNS will turn it over to the SHPO, and then the SHPO will have 30 days to respond, so they should get something back no later than 12/2. And then it will go over in a package for that Phase 1, that CATEX that we did months ago, to the state. And then
So
the state,
so everything that we've done, okay, and everyone that we've talked to, and we know why this has come up, right?
Correct.
Unfortunately, we know why it's come up.
correct?
But everyone we talked to at the state, is this is the last piece of the puzzle, and that once they get this, we should be good. There's nothing outstanding. But this Phase 1 here, when you start talking about Phase 1 going into consultants and people doing work, is this a rabbit hole we're gonna go down now?
I don't think so. I did talk to the state, and the state directly talked to the SHPO. And
Right.
so once the state talked to the SHPO, I forward that, he does not think that they were gonna have any adverse effects on that building.
I was just going to say, I know in some instances if they do a Phase 1, depending on what the outcome of Phase 1, they may have to do a Phase 2. But if the outcome is no negative issues, then it just stops at Phase 1. I don't know if that's the case.
Well, this
this
isn't,
case,
yeah,
that's-
this isn't a environmental phase. This is a research historical documentation phase.
Correct.
Okay, and there's no reason that, you know,
But-
that all the information that they collect, Ohio drains is already done, we've already had this all communication.
They have.
Everyone's saying this is it, but Phase 1, like Ron just said, with Phase 1, there could be a Phase 2, for whatever.
Let's hope
reason.
there's not.
Yeah, well.
But they did tell me though, John, that they're
This is the
not,
first time I've heard Phase 1 through this whole process,
But
Joe,
they're-
that's why I'm bringing it up.
but they have told me that they did talk to the SHPO because there was a pre-coordination meeting with them before we even went down the rabbit hole of even starting this study. And they do have the study from Ohio, which was provided to them.
I'm not comfortable with passing this.
I mean, we got to, I'm assuming
Not
we
with this
have to-
Phase 1 historic, this is for the historic architectural survey. We know what it's for. It's very clear what it's for. It's not Part 1 or Phase 1, or it is it. This is it, all of it. Unless you feel very comfortable with
Oh,
that.
I'm very comfortable.
You're okay with the Phase 1 language?
I am okay with the Phase 1 language. I took it right from the document.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing done, we have a motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Nadeau. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Action item number 3 is the approval of the lease agreement for PJ Ramsey. We have a recommendation before us that reads, based upon the recommendation of the Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosse Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves the building lease agreement for PJ Ramsey at 27502 Meridian, Unit Number 9. The terms of the lease agreement are for a 2-year lease from December 1st, 2024 through November 30th of 2026 for a monthly rental amount of $1,400 a month, which equals $16,800 a year.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rathel,
Second.
or by Mr. Loftus. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Rathel.
So this unit, for everybody to know, is in our, condos, the 8 units that we have over there that we built on spec that have been leased out continuously since we started this project about 5 years ago now. We had a tenant that moved out. Janelle had another tenant, this particular tenant, in her back pocket to put in right away. What that tells me is that we really, because of our capital that we have, that we need to continue to have that start working for us again to go into a more aggressive development phase like we did back then and with the storage and others, that we continue the expansion of Building 63 and look at doing another 4 units. If you remember, for those that have been around, we did plan on doing that to continue to go west in that building, and I think we did plumbing and some other things to prepare for it. But it is very positive that since the inception or the start of these leases of that facility, it's been 100% occupied, and I think that if we do 4 more, we would gain a lot more revenue, annual revenue from it. So
There's a market.
I think that it's time to start getting those costs in order and see what it's going to take. And obviously, we got to do some pro forums, and we got, we can't just go blindly with it. But the only way that I wouldn't think that would be a good idea is if Janelle says, "No, I don't think we have that," But I think, Janelle, correct me if I'm wrong, you'd be pretty confident that you'd be able to fill them up.
I am. I would be. So the question is, do we go 2,000 square feet or 3,000 square feet for the units? And then
Good question.
that would be my question. I know Greg and I have talked about that in the past and really what the demand is.
And maybe you and Greg need to work on that project, right? And come up with a proposal of, what are the units, how many? Is it 3,000? Is it 4,000? Is, what is the rent projection? But I think we need to do it. We've got a bunch of money here now that needs to be invested back in. We did the Hangar painting. We've done a lot of improvements with the aviation side. So let's go back to the Commerce Park side and start generating some more revenue with this money that we have.
So you're looking to put that, whatever that renovation would be on the next year's budget for 25, 26 then? Is that what I'm
I think we need
hearing?
to talk about,
Okay.
we don't need to start tomorrow, but
No,
I
I
think
know,
that,
I'm just-
all I'm saying is that I think that we need to seriously say, this is a objective that we want to do, if we want to do that. I think that it makes sense. But obviously, you and Greg need to agree and come back to the commission, and we all need to agree, but it looks like it's a great opportunity for us to do this.
I think it's worth investigating, so I think
Definitely.
that's a good
Definitely,
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Get some ideas, what the architectural and engineering cost is gonna be, what the construction cost is gonna be, what we think we can get in rent, and kind of what is the right size.
Yeah.
You and I can get together then, Greg.
Pick a date.
Hmm?
Let's pick a date.
All right, sounds good.
You guys busy tomorrow? No me, Janelle.
He'll be asking us on Wednesday.
Is there any other comments or questions on the lease for PJ Ramsey? If not, we have a motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Loftus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next action item is item number 4, which is the approval of 9167 Groh Road, Hangar number 3 painting proposal. We have a recommendation in front of us that reads, based upon the recommendation of the Grosse Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosse Commerce Park Commission hereby approves the proposed painting project for Hangar number 3 located at 9167 Groh Road at no cost to the airport. We do like that.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Rathel,
Second.
supported by Mr. Loftus. Janelle, you want to speak to why there is no cost to us?
So this gentleman has been watching the paint project of the T-hangers and is pretty impressed with the job that they have been doing. And he approached me and said, I'd really like to paint my hangar, or the hangar that he's leasing from us, the same color because it's in poor condition, and would like to make it look nice like the other hangars. So he actually talked to the painters to figure out their product and their application process, and is going to do the same application process. And that's all I have to say.
Very good news. Hopefully, as we make more improvements around here, the other
Everybody
tenants will
up
do
with
the
us.
same
There
thing.
you go.
Yeah, he just thinks it needs a fresh coat.
Just giving him permission to paint, is that essentially what the motion is?
That would be correct, per the terms of the
Okay,
lease
so there's
agreement.
no- It's not an airport project
No,
allowing him,
to paint our building.
Main a building he's leasing.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Rathel.
I think, so something like this is certainly able to be handled administratively. If a tenant wants to do something, and there's a lot of tenants that want to improve something in their facilities they rent from us, Janelle handles it administratively. She decides what's best, and we don't even hear about that. However, I think with this one here, because of the investments that we've made into the aviation side here in the last year, and the big investment of painting T-hangars, which has been a great visual benefit to the airport, a spiritual benefit to the airport. Everybody is like a lot happier, and they see investments and the place looks better. That inspires other people, other tenants in the aviation side to do things to take care of the properties they lease for us. And I think it was just a great opportunity for everybody to see that our investments spur other investments by our tenants to continue the growth of the vision that we have of this place and how it looks. And I think that if you have flown out of the airport this summer or you drive around, I've been around here for a very long time, and when I last flew out about a month or so ago, Janelle and I, looking down at this airfield, it's never looked as beautiful as it does right now. Never. I mean, outside when I was in Navy, you know, and we had all cool planes. I mean, I could borrow all that, right?
Yeah.
And this is just a testament of the leadership of the direction of the visual, and that's why this was brought forward, just to bring us into that process of how important it is to have the airport hangars look so good, even hangars that we lease with, to tenants that have no obligation to do something like this. But they're taking that on themselves, so
Correct.
good job, Janelle.
Correct.
And the commission, good job, guys.
Any other comments or questions? And,
One question.
Mr. Hornby?
It's great that he wants to do it and great that he's using the same materials. Should we be concerned at all about the procedure? It's not quite the same, I don't think, if he's going to roll it. You know, I don't know what the paint people would say. I mean, I realize it's kind of an old and tired looking structure, so it should be a great improvement. I'm just wondering, should there be any discussion on that? You know, seems like an awful lot to roll, even though it's a small building. But
I would say that they're rolling the actual man doors on it, and the way that the slats are, I think rolling would be fine. As far as adhering to the actual primer, you know, I think it'll be all right. It'll be an improvement to what it is now. If we would like to see if he would rent a sprayer in that application, we can do that. We can have that discussion.
yeah, we all want a good job because it's going to take a little effort and expense, so it's just a question.
Yeah, and certainly, Greg, that's a great thought, okay? And the last thing that I want to do is to give our tenant any indication that we're giving them any pushback on him spending a lot of money to make our building look better, okay? So he's a pretty detailed, quality guy. He's not a guy that does things kind of, you know, on the cheap or, so I'm not sure if it's, you know, let him paint it how he wants to paint it and, you know,
The maintenance guy, I have a good relationship with him also, so these types of things are monitored on the field, so there is that.
yeah, I mean, the environmental, I mean, you don't want paint going down, you know, things like that. We need to make sure that that is covered, but. Sorry, Greg, I mean, you know,
No,
Oh, it was a good question.
all good with me,
yeah.
just a
Yeah.
question.
You know, I think you should pass on to him that we appreciate, you know, him doing this and him stepping up and, you know, doing it at his cost, and great that he wants to do that.
Okay, I can do that.
Got a motion by Mr. Athel, supported by Mr. Loftus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Move on to our next item, which is our discussion items. Item number 1 is our ACIP.
Let's swing up here for a second. So as I mentioned, I don't know, a couple months ago, we're coming up to the upcoming MAC meeting, which I believe ours is November 19th. So CNS, our consultant, myself, will be heading up to Lansing to have a conversation about what the capital improvement plan looks like for the next 5 years. I know John and I have talked about this and kind of our path moving forward, and Greg and I have, or Daryl and I have had a little conversation as well, and our path moving forward. And after those conversations, this is kind of in collaboration with all parties involved in this, and how we're thinking, and this is just a proposal at this point until the conversations obviously move forward with MDOT. Couple of things to note here is, one, and I was going to bring this up during my manager meeting, but it's in front of us right now, is that I've been talking about the crack seal program, which is a statewide program. MDOT is still a little behind schedule on that. Hopefully, if the weather continues to be warm, we will be on the schedule, hopefully this fall. We'll see. If not, it'll be springtime next year.
But that is happening.
It is. I mean,
Happen
it's
just whether
gonna.
it's fall or spring.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. We were on the calendar to be done this year, but they got a late start on it for whatever reason, and we didn't get on their schedule as of yet. And I'm gonna just kind of break down I'm going to show you this firstly, is that you'll see on here is there's a design and a construction for taxiway A2, and then the taxiway C joint seal and design, and then you see the runway 17. And what we were looking at was making sure that we spend all of our bill money. We have $159,000 to spend of our 2022 bill. And if we don't spend it, then we're going to lose it. And we don't want to lose it. And we can't roll it over, and that's it. So if you're looking at the funding here for the taxiway A2 reconstruction design, you're noticing that the bill funding is $135,000 for that, which would use up our bill funding for that project. The state will pay 75 of that, and we as the local will pay 75 as well. But if you look at how MDOT really views how they're going to spend their state apportionment money for these types of projects, they're going to look at your PCI report, and you can see here that A2, which is the approach to the taxiway, which clearly we just did Alpha here, and this is our main taxiway, is Charlie. So if you look at this is in front of Charlie Row hangars, which is in poor condition. However, if they're going to look at something that they would want as a priority, more than likely they're going to be looking at this Alpha 2 here. We will look at combining both of these as one project, as you can see here, but we'll see what the cost is for that. And then you can see that the taxiway joint sale, which would be in 2026, and the bill funding for that, and then the state share, and then the local share of our bill funding. And then obviously we're kind of looking at the design project for 1735 and later on down the road. And then I gave you guys a packet, and this is just kind of how I was breaking down just our cost and our share of some of our grounds here on the airport, some of the things that are funded from either the state or the federal. It's all really federal, but this kind of breaks down our funding. So every year we get $150,000 for our state apportionment, and then this is the bill funding, which right now we have 159, 145, and 144. So right now we were trying to use this $748,000. But just keep in mind that we cannot roll this over next year. And then once we get it, we're not going to be able to roll over either one of these. So
every year we need to spend whatever funding we get in that year.
no, we've had this since 2022, but we didn't end up having to use it for the Alpha project. So now we're just getting to that point for another bigger project, and then so we can use that money up, which would be the design of.
You know, I'm sorry.
Go for it.
I just have to say, and I know you're not going to bring it up, but I think it's important because we look at 1735, which has been a big discussion for a long time, and we started
Correct.
out this a number of years ago before you came, where 1735 was not a qualifying project. It wasn't designated as a crosswind runway, and there was a belief that that runway would not ever be able to be resurrected and back usable for the airfield. Since then, it is a designated qualifying project. It is designated a crosswind runway. We do have the state looking at it as a project that is worthy of doing,
Correct.
right? Which
Yes.
we've never had since it's been closed. But the timing of it is the most important part of you and the state coming together with that timing. We don't want to push anything or upset them of trying to be too greedy on things, or, you know, we want this. So I think it's important to know that 1735 is on the table. It is a project that we will get done, but the timing will be you know, even the design, instead of 2025, the design may come in 2026.
Correct.
Okay, so I think it's just important for everybody to understand that we're not focusing on that. We've done a lot of work. Janelle has done a tremendous job on getting this qualified, and it will happen. I don't have my glasses, but I can't see when the design is gonna be,
27.
27.
27,
Yeah.
yeah, so, yep, so, okay. All right, sorry, I just
No, I
wanted,
think
I
there's,
just, yeah, I just
no,
wanted.
I thank you.
Yeah,
I thank you. And, you know, to that point, right? In order to get these projects going, even for this A2 connector, for this reconstruct, our design, we need to start working on that as soon as possible because we have a deadline to get it to MDOT by March 1st. So we don't have a lot of time to waste, and it's clearly a much smaller project, and we want to be able to be realistic about getting it approved.
when will that be ready for us to approve?
Let's get through this session, but I don't have a date on that, but I would guess sometime in beginning of February is kind of our
CNS will
timeframe.
have, all the numbers for us?
A better understanding of what that project is gonna look like. But, I mean, the ACIP needs to be approved from the state in order to move forward to even just make a decision whether or not you're even gonna get funding for these projects.
Yeah.
Right? We're not the only airport that gets funding for these projects, right? So it's a competitive program. So, and I think that's really it that I just want to share. But, you know, moving forward in discussion for 1735 and looking at the funding, I mean, you can see here, I mean, you're going to be looking at, you know, this is $450,000 even for our local share for that. So that's something that we've been taking into consideration as well. So thanks for bringing that up. And I think that's all.
Anyone have any questions for Janelle? Thanks, Janelle. We will move on to our next item, which is the manager's report.
Couple of quick updates on the manager report. The AWAS, just so everybody knows, yes, I know there's problems with it. We drew the short straw for how well the AWAS has been working with MDOT. MDOT and I have been working together pretty much for the past couple of weeks, several times a week to make sure that we get that monitoring system up and working. So just be patient as we work through it. The NDB update, I know I mentioned this, but I did talk to the gentleman who maintains our NDB, and he and I were talking when it becomes decommissioned, which will be sometime in April of 2025. I would like to make a proposal or at least have a conversation about donating the equipment to an airport in Sturgis, Michigan. It's called Kirsch Municipal Airport. They still have an NDB. It's difficult to find parts, and it'd just be a good way to give them a hand in helping that out. With that being said, we have been working with Pontiac because our Lumicurve airfield signs are fading. So PTK is actually donating some of their sign panels to our staff that they'll be picking up this week to be able to refabricate the sign panels. So with the NDB, the towers will still be there and the antenna will still be there. Neither one of those are parts that this gentleman will need. He's been maintaining NDBs for like 30 years, so he doesn't really see a use for those, but he will help kind of take all the materials out of, there's a 3x3x3 shed out on the field, which we're going to have to deal with anyways, however we're going to deal with it. But I guess that's all I have to say about that. And then what's your opinion on that? So.
Sure.
Story.
Janelle, why don't you just explain to everybody what you're talking about, where it is, and the size of everything?
So the NDB is a non-directional beacon. It's an antiquated use for approaches, and no one really has those instruments in their aircrafts anymore, except for a few airfields or aircrafts, even at that. It was decided a couple of months ago that not many aircrafts on this field even use the non-directional beacon to get onto our airfield. So it's located on the west side of the airport, off of the maintenance road where the new bike path is.
Yeah,
Pardon?
the east side.
Didn't I say east?
No, you said west.
Oh, well, all right, east side. East side. Well, it's the west side of the bike path. So it's the west side of the bike path, east side of the airport. And there are a couple of towers back there, and there's a 3x3 box that sits back there. And inside that box is equipment for the NDB, the non-directional beacon. And that's what it is.
I think if we can help out another airport that needs parts, we should do it.
Yeah. I mean, we are, regardless, we own it. So it's not like the FAA is going to come and take it and swoop it away. So we'll end up having to pull it all down, but at least it's a couple more parts that we don't have to worry about.
Put out the NOTAM that's decommissioned and we move on.
I can't put the NOTAM out yet until it's
Well, not
decommissioned
until
in
it's
April.
decommissioned, but-
Yeah. This isn't going to happen until April, but he and I were just happened to have the conversation last week. So I said I'd bring it up at the commission meeting tonight.
I went out there to look and see how the antenna is in the ground, and it's, you know, big. I have no idea how deep the foundation is, but it looks like we could probably like unbolt something or do something. And, you know, my crazy ideas of repurposing things that look aviation and historic, of maybe the restaurant may want to, like, you know, do something. I don't know. I mean, it's probably a dumb idea, but
That's a
it just, but
great
just sit,
idea.
just let it sit there and, you know, not do anything. I mean, because we could be able to like move it, and it's pretty cool looking. I mean, it looks technical, right? I mean, it looks like it's something.
The towers, from my understanding, are on like a pivot where they can come down in order to undo the cables
Oh,
that are on.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that was what he was telling me. He's like,
Oh,
they're-
cool.
So if your maintenance guys want to do it, the way to do it, I guess there's a pivot that they can bring it down in order to take the cables off of the actual towers. So that might be a good idea.
Or keep the cables on. I mean, I don't know. Just,
You
you
know,
know,
I don't know.
I just, you know, whatever. Probably shouldn't have.
No,
brought
How
it's-
big are the towers?
20 feet, maybe? What do you think, John? 20,
No,
20, 25
15.
feet?
Yeah,
I don't know.
right around 20.
There's two of them. Anything else with that? No. So I talked about the Luma curve. I know this has been a conversation, but finding people to actually be able to get over to Round Island to get the trees removed. Kind of have a little bit of a quote back from them. I think we'll probably end up having to go out for an RFP for tree removal on Round Island, but would be probably $16,000 to $20,000 is kind of what I'm looking at.
What happened to your friend?
Didn't show up. I know we talked about the bar restaurant. The Jet A update, really quickly, I know that we had an approval as another aeronautical improvement that we did this year. We've talked about the fuel farm in general. The tank was cleaned on Saturday, and it's all good to go. They put a new clock on, and we have new fuel, so Jet A is cleaned and up and running again. So thank you, Sparling. I know we talked about the T-hanger painting update, but the top coat of the portions of Hangar Row Charlie are being completed. They should be done in the next 2 weeks. We're a little behind on schedule because, quite honestly, the weather for the first couple weeks of the project was too hot for them to work because the surface was at like 110 degrees, and in order for the paint not to be melting off of it, it has to be below or around 100 degrees. So a little behind schedule on that, but it should be done hopefully in the next 2 weeks. The sandblaster will be out Wednesday or Thursday, so they'll be sandblasting those areas of concern on Hangar Charlie. We talked about the crack seal update. The noise abatement sign has been, I know we talked about that in order to make sure that we're good neighbors. We did order the noise abatement signs, so the guys will be installing those, one at the end of 4 and the other at the end of 2. And I'll let you update the landscaping efforts. You want me to talk about that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Ron and I have been updating the landscaping. We've been in conversations with Ohio. Looks like we are going to have conversations with Wayne County. So Ohio is working on that. It's just been a little bit of delay in that project, but it is still moving forward, and we didn't forget about it. The survey was done. In order to see those lot lines, you'll see the stakes out there. There's one over by Island Athletics and another one off of Groh Road there that you'll be able to see those. As far as maintenance update goes, we're just beginning all of our preparations for the winter months. Well, the boys are, I'm not. So they are changing filters in the buildings that we're responsible for, the HVAC systems. They are getting ready. They're almost done with grass cutting. So that means that they'll be able to, winterize their tractors or whatever they have to do to get ready for the winter months. And if you've noticed along Groh Road, they've done a lot of tree trimming in front of, I know, Island Paradise, and they've done quite a bit of tree trimming in north side of the FBO. So you'll notice a lot of trees that have been trimmed in order to kind of clean up the area a little bit. And just the last thing I want to say is that 2 special events. The Halloween trunk or treat will be October 23rd. We did team up with, again, the rec department. A handful of our tenants will be there. I know Hall's Flying Service will be there handing out candy. Max Flight will be there. Island Paradise and Pirates Cove are some of the tenants that I know will be attending that
And
event.
where's that going to be located at?
It's going to be on the north side of the hangar and the parking area, the ramp over there. So everyone is welcome, and it is a free event
23rd at what time?
between 5:30 and 7:30. I'll let Mr. Loftus update the other one, and I guess that's good for me.
Ready to come down to, let's see, commission member reports. I guess we're at commission member reports.
And that's you.
Update, as we, excuse me if I can get my, whatever's taking up residence in my throat out. Okay. We all recall that we were recognized by Gearheads for the support we gave them for the car show. Well, last executive, I will call it that, meeting of the Gearheads, decided on the date of August 2nd with rain date of August 3rd. Janelle's checked it with her calendar. So far, there are no conflicts, so don't give me that puzzled look, Janelle.
Well, I guess I didn't remember the rain date of August 3rd, so I need to write that down.
Okay. It's a carryover from last year where.
Okay.
But anyway, August 2nd is the planned date. As you recall, the Gearheads, after paying their expenses, they don't make any money out of it. It goes to support a charity. And we decided, once again, that the most deserving would be the Goodfellas. It makes it a community event. Nobody knows what the Goodfellas do except the people who are the recipients. That's just the way that the system is supposed to work. So we'll be supporting the Goodfellas once again, August 2nd. We got nothing but good comments from those who attended the show because it was nice to be indoors. Everybody liked it, so we're expecting a bigger turnout. And any suggestions that this panel has to make it a better show, let me know. I'll be the liaison. We're going to try to get better food available. And a few other, open it up to more island activities. If not-for-profits, if they want to set up a booth, hand out distributions, whatever. It's a community event. And I'm still the old mindset, the more the community appreciates this airport, the longer the community supports the airport. We fought that battle a long time, and I think we're on the upside of that.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
So if anything changes or there's any important updates, I'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay.
Sorry for what happened to my voice.
Thanks, Mr. Loftus. We'll move on to our, you're done, Janelle?
I'm good.
Anything else?
Yep. Nope, I'm good.
We'll move on to our subcommittee reports. We have none today. Is there any other commission members that have anything they'd like to bring up in open business?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to thank you, the other members of the commission. It's been a privilege for me to be on this commission. I want to thank Janelle for the help that she's given me in understanding what the hell's going on around here and who's doing what when. But I wish you all well in the future.
It's your last
Well,
meeting?
This is it. So on behalf of the commission, we'd like to thank you for sitting on the commission these last 4 years and your participation. And
Been a pleasure.
as I think you heard tonight, the airport is in pretty good hands financially. All to the credit of everybody that's sitting on the board here, and thank you and wish you well.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I didn't think that this was the last meeting, and I certainly had all the intentions of doing a little presentation to Treasurer Nadeau. But in absence of that, I do have to say that Dave, a lot of people have come through this commission over the years, and the airport commission since before. People have ideas. They come from different. They come from different starting points of their objectives of getting involved with the airport, and not necessarily the overall good of the airport before their own personal agenda. I do have to say that from the time that you came, you wanted to learn, you wanted to understand, and you were very pragmatic. You used your experience, your common sense. You asked questions in a way that made people think. And I do want to say personally that I appreciate the way that you've handled being on this commission. You added benefit. You added benefit. You helped move this airport forward. And I can tell you that I don't say that a lot about everybody that has come, okay? But you have. And I just want to personally thank you for the way that you handled it. And I wish you all the best of luck, you and your wife. You guys are great people. And you have a wonderful future of giving back to the community, because I know you're not done with that even when you're off the board. So thank you from me, and I think Ron spoke for the commission. But
It's been an honor.
That's all as it relates to the commission report, or the chairman report. There's no public comment tonight, so next item is motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Rathel, supported by Mr. Nadeau to adjourn at 6:55. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.
Ron, I got to take.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks.